Narrator gentle tone, it's strange how life often hides extraordinary hearts in the most ordinary places. Some people shine not because of their status or wealth, but because of the goodness that quietly lives within them. This is the story of Evelyn Hart, a powerful CEO who thought she had everything until one humble janitor changed the way she saw the world, and what truly mattered. Scene 1, The CEO and Her World. Narrator, Evelyn Hart was the kind of woman people whispered about in boardrooms. Smart, decisive, and intimidatingly successful, she ran Hart Tech, a billion-dollar company known for innovation. Her mornings were filled with meetings, her nights with emails, and her heart was mostly empty. After losing her husband years ago, Evelyn had thrown herself into her work, leaving little time for anything else, except her daughter, Lily. Lily was 8. Bright, curious, and bursting with questions about everything, especially numbers. But lately, Evelyn had noticed something unusual. Lily's math grades had skyrocketed. From struggling with multiplication tables, to solving problems even Evelyn couldn't understand. One night, Evelyn leaned over her daughter's homework and frowned. "Lily, who's been teaching you this?" she asked gently. Lily looked up, her eyes shining. "Oh, Mommy," she giggled. "Mr. Ben shows me after school sometimes." "Mr. Ben," Evelyn repeated. "Who's that?" "The janitor," Lily said simply. "He's really smart. He makes math fun." Evelyn froze. The janitor. Scene 2, Curiosity and Skepticism. Narrator, at first, Evelyn didn't know whether to laugh or be concerned. Her daughter was spending time with the janitor after school. She called the school principal the next morning. The principal, a kind woman named Mrs. Green, explained calmly, "Yes, Ms. Hart. Ben helps a few students who stay late. He's very kind, and patient. The kids adore him." Still, Evelyn's mind buzzed with skepticism. A janitor teaching advanced math, she decided to see for herself. Scene 3, The Discovery. Narrator, that afternoon, Evelyn left work early and drove straight to the elementary school. As she approached the hallway, she heard laughter echoing from an empty classroom. Peeking through the glass, she saw her daughter seated at a small desk. Across from her stood Ben, a tall man in his 50s, with gentle eyes and a modest smile. He was holding a piece of chalk, explaining something on the board. "Now, Lily," he said, his voice calm, "imagine numbers as friends. Some like to pair up, those are even. Some like to stay solo, those are odd." Lily giggled, understanding instantly. Evelyn felt something shift inside her. Ben wasn't just sweeping floors, he was changing lives in quiet ways. When class ended, she waited for him in the hall. "Mr. Ben," she said softly. He turned, surprised. "Yes, Ma'am. I'm Evelyn Hart, Lily's mother. I wanted to thank you for helping her." Ben smiled modestly. "She's a bright kid, Ma'am. I just give her a little push." But Evelyn's curiosity was piqued. "You seem to know more than just a little. Where did you learn to teach like that?" Ben hesitated, his gaze lowering to the floor. "I used to be a math professor," he said quietly. "Before, life took a different turn." Scene 4, The Hidden Past. Narrator, Evelyn blinked. "A professor?" Ben nodded slowly. "I taught at a university for nearly 20 years. But when my wife got sick, I sold everything to pay for her treatment. When she passed, I couldn't go back. I just needed to work somewhere quiet." Somewhere, where no one expected anything. His words hung heavy in the air. Evelyn felt her throat tighten. In front of her stood a man who had once shaped minds in classrooms, now pushing mops through hallways. "Why didn't you go back?" she asked gently. Ben shrugged. "Sometimes, people lose more than money. They lose the part of themselves that believes they still matter." Scene 5, The Turning Point. Narrator, that night, Evelyn couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about Ben, the man who had given her daughter confidence, joy, and curiosity, all while hiding in the shadows. The next morning, she called her assistant. "Find me everything you can about Benjamin Clark," she said. Within hours, reports came in. PhD in mathematics from Stanford. Former associate professor. Published researcher. Her chest ached as she scrolled through the details. This man didn't belong in a janitor's uniform. That evening, she drove back to the school. Ben was finishing up, sweeping the hallway as the sunset painted the windows gold. "Mr. Ben," she said softly. He turned, smiling faintly. "Good evening, Ms. Hart. I'd like to offer you something," she began. He frowned. "I'm not looking for charity, ma'am." "This isn't charity," she replied. "It's an opportunity." Scene 6, The Offer. Narrator, a week later, Benjamin Clark walked into Hart Tech headquarters not in a janitor's uniform, but in a suit Evelyn had insisted on buying. She had created a new program, an educational innovation division to help develop better STEM learning for children. And Ben, he would lead it. When she announced it in front of her board of directors, there were whispers of confusion. A janitor turned executive, but Evelyn silenced them with a single line: "Greatness doesn't wear a title, it shows itself in actions." Scene 7, The New Beginning. Narrator, months passed, and Hart Tech's new education initiative soared. Schools across the state began using Ben's creative teaching models. Children who once feared math now loved it. But more than that, Evelyn and Ben became friends. Every afternoon, they'd talk about life, loss, and what truly matters. And one day, Lily walked into her mom's office holding a small card. It said, in neat handwriting, "Thank you, Mr. Ben. You didn't just teach me math. You taught me kindness." Evelyn's eyes glistened with tears as she read it aloud. Ben smiled softly. "She already had it in her, Ms. Hart. Sometimes, kids just need someone to remind them how bright they are." Scene 8, The Revelation. Narrator, a year later, Hart Tech was awarded for its contribution to education. As the applause filled the hall, Evelyn took the stage. "Tonight," she said, her voice trembling, "I want to honor someone who reminded me that true intelligence isn't about numbers or titles, it's about heart." She gestured toward Ben, sitting in the front row, his eyes wide with disbelief. "He taught my daughter more than math," she continued. "He taught her hope. And in doing so, he taught me humanity." The audience rose to their feet, clapping until Ben stood, tears streaming down his face. Scene 9, Epilogue, The Meaning of Success. Narrator, years later, the Hart Clark Foundation was born, an organization providing free tutoring and scholarships for underprivileged kids. At every graduation ceremony, Ben would hand each student a small note that read, "Remember, your value isn't measured by what you have, but by what you give." And somewhere in the crowd, Evelyn would smile, proud not only of her company, but of the quiet janitor who changed everything. Because sometimes, the most brilliant minds aren't sitting at the top. they're sweeping the floors waiting for someone to see their light. Clapperboard soft music fades out. Narrator closing line, true greatness doesn't seek attention, it simply shines, even in silence.